Welcome into the show. This is Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. No matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you as always for making today's show a part of your day. So many very talented content creators out there talking Sixers. And anytime you hang out with us, we certainly appreciate that because there's a lot of competition out there. Coming up here on the show, how the Sixers stack up with the top two teams in the Eastern Conference. We're talking about how Philadelphia fares against the New York Knicks and the defending champion Boston Celtics. And yes, saying that does make me sick. Here inside the walls of Chat Sports, we can take a look at how 76ers Now stacks up with Boston Celtics Today and New York Knicks Now. Most likes on a single video this month. New York Knicks Now, 1,066. Celtics Today, 929. 76ers Now, 847. Can we get more likes on this video and take down the Knicks as well as the Boston Celtics? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. Right onto that thumbs up icon. As for the New York Knicks, let's start there. How does Philadelphia compete with New York after losing to the Knicks in the first round in that series, which featured everything, was very intense, was very entertaining, and I thought throughout the duration of the entire NBA playoffs was the best playoff series. It had an NBA Finals feel. It really did. Two great fan bases, two intense fan bases, the atmosphere at the Wells Fargo Center, Madison Square Garden. It was awesome. And then every single game came down to the wire. And I want to show this quote from Stephen A. Smith, who is a diehard Knicks fan. This is what he had to say. If Joel Embiid is healthy, there's no excuses. Embiid on one leg averaged 35 against the Knicks. We know how big time Embiid is. We know that Tyrese Maxey is special. Brother got a $204 million extension. Brother got a $204 million extension. If Paul George is what Paul George is supposed to be, Maxey, Embiid, PG, as much as I love my Knicks, orange and blue skies, baby. They don't come before Philly and Boston. We know Boston's on another level. They the champions. They the reigning defending champions. And we'll see what happens with them. But Embiid with Maxey and Paul George, yes, I believe in that. That's big. I know some people are concerned about how Joel Embiid fared in that Olympic ramp-up game for Team USA against Team Canada. He looked rusty. It's almost as if he hadn't played basketball in a really long time. I thought Embiid actually made a couple of really good transition passes, and I don't think he's going to be cooked overnight. The social media ridiculousness was wild. Dwight Powell putting the clamps on Joel Embiid. I still think he's going to be an elite player, just has to stay healthy. And I know the Knicks beat the Sixers, but imagine if the Sixers had Paul George. He's defending Jalen Brunson. He's making Jalen Brunson's job a lot more difficult, and he's another offensive option who would have been a wildly better upgrade than Tobias Harris, who crumble cookies probably better than Tobias Harris in that series. Outside of that Game 5, Skip Bayless on Paul George, not as high on PG as we are, and Stephen A. Smith. He's going to play the contrarian role. No, really? Paul George is just PG. Pretty good. He has no killer will. He won't make a big difference in Philadelphia. I think Skip, in saying that, is delusional. If he thinks upgrading from Tobias Harris to Paul George is not going to make a difference. The shot making, the shot creation, the efficiency, the defensive impact, it makes Philadelphia so much better than what they were in that first round series against the Knicks. As for the lineups and the starting lineups for both teams, you have Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Paul George, Caleb Martin, Joel Embiid. That's our best crack at what the Sixers starting five will be. The Knicks, I still think they have a vacant hole at that center spot, and it was a center position that Joel Embiid dominated on one leg, like Stephen A. Smith said. Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, really good top three. I think Julius Randle is an awful playoff player, and Mitchell Robinson, a good big, but I don't think that he can stick with Joel Embiid for an entire playoff series if Embiid is healthy. The depth pieces for both teams, this is where I think the Knicks do have the edge. Deuce McBride He's made some strides. Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, really good players. The Villanova Knicks. Keita Bates Diop, and then Jericho Sims. For the Sixers, still moves to be made here to round out that rotation. Jared McCain, Eric Gordon, Ricky Council IV, Adem Bona, and Andre Drummond. So the big question from myself and Chip, is Philly better than New York? I need to see it on the floor. I think talent-wise, Philadelphia is better. But New York had something special brewing last year. But with how many minutes their core players played, can that duplicate that success this upcoming season?
Yeah, look, the Knicks just beat us. Give credit to them. They played phenomenally and obviously had a big offseason adding Mikal Bridges.
Yep.
But losing Isaiah Hartenstein is a big deal. A very, very big deal. What he did for them, rebounding-wise, energy-wise, defensively, offensively, with that annoying little push shot about a few feet out from the rim. I mean, he was tremendous. He really was. And if they don't make another addition, those rumors are looking to trade for Walker Kessler. They're going to be in the market for another center because you can't trust Mitchell Robinson. I truly think if both teams are at their best, as currently constructed, the Sixers are a more talented team. If Paul George can play to his best of his ability, if Joel Embiid can stay healthy, again, big if, and we see a step from Tyrese Maxey, I truly think that they can beat the Knicks in a playoff series. It just comes down to health for both teams.
Yep.
What do the final rosters look like? I'm sure the rosters will change up at the deadline, but as of right now, I like Philly's chances against the Knicks. I think they have more star power. They have more offensive firepower. And I like Nurse over Thibodeau as well. So we'll see what happens come playoff time, of course. But I think the Sixers absolutely can hang with the New York Knicks.
Coming up next, can the Sixers hang with the Boston Celtics, who Philadelphia has not beat in a playoff series since the mid-1980s? Jared McCain jerseys are available. I think he made a good choice in wearing the number 20. Chatsports.com/McCain. You can get yours today. There are also other Sixers jerseys available if you use that link, thanks to our friends at Fanatics. The aforementioned question, can Philly compete with the defending champs? I think Philadelphia can compete with the Boston Celtics. But furthermore, can they beat the Boston Celtics? What's interesting is that a lot of people have said Sixers are so small, they need a power forward. They're not really that much smaller than the Boston Celtics when you compare their starting lineups. Tyrese Maxey is 6'2", Drew Holiday's 6'4", Derek White is 6'4", but Kelly Oubre is what, 6'6", 6'7"? Paul George, Caleb Martin are bigger wings. So Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they play the wing spot as well. There is some chatter that Jason Tatum has grown. There were some photos of him standing next to Bam Adebayo, who is supposed to be and is a center, and Jason Tatum looked to be taller than Bam Adebayo. And then you have Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford with Joel Embiid. That's pretty much a wash. So Philadelphia is not that much smaller than Boston. Where Boston, I think, has the edge, though, certainly defense. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum are all NBA defenders. And how they match up with Philadelphia defensively, I think, is a little bit of a concern. It would come down to elite shot making for the Sixers. Tyrese Maxey would have to have limitless range. Paul George is going to have to hit contested shots. And the big fella, Joel Embiid, is going to have to do his thing. And he has struggled historically against Al Horford. And Kristaps Porzingis could tire Embiid by getting him out to the three-point arc, and that's a little bit of a concern. And then the Celtics' depth pieces here, Peyton Pritchard, Jaden Springer, Sam Hauser, Xavier Tillman, Luke Cornett, what they have over the Sixers here, I'm not going to say they have like wildly more talent, but a lot more continuity and a lot more familiarity. A lot of these players have been together for a long time. Pritchard, Hauser, Cornett, they are byproducts of the Celtics player development program. And we know the Sixers' history against the Celtics. I hate Boston more than any professional team in sports. This is the best team that they've had in recent years. I know they could be without KP, to start the year, but they're still going to be really damn good. Chip, I hate to say this, I don't think the Sixers are better than the Celtics.
Yeah, look, at this moment in time, the Celtics are just the most talented team in the NBA. They're champions for a reason. It was relatively easy for them throughout the entire playoff run. They just have a lot of really, really good players, and they're going to for a couple of years. The only way I can really see the Sixers beating the Celtics in a 7-game series, assuming both teams are healthy, is, as you said, Chase, elite shot making across the board. Because we know the Celtics, regardless of if their offense is always on or not, because they're very 3-point dependent, their defense is always going to be there. It just is. So it's going to take elite shot making, and I think Embiid's going to have that series where he stakes his claim as the best player in the world. And if he doesn't play like that, and if he can't stay healthy, I don't really think it matters much what Tyrese Maxey does, what Paul George does, because the Celtics just have too much talent. Their starting 5 is historic. Honestly, they put up historic numbers on the offensive side of the ball this year. So, am I going to say they have no chance? It's going to be very, very tough. The Celtics are just so talented and so many different skill sets and just perfectly constructed for today's NBA. You got to hope they're missing their threes. So it's going to take a lot.
Yeah.
But if everybody in the Sixers is playing at their peak, I think they got a chance. But again, going to need everybody across the board to play absolutely out of their minds to beat Boston.
It's really just what it comes down to. Another thing that Boston has, they've had Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum together for a long time. Al Horford has been on that team for a long time. Derek White at this point has been on that team for a few seasons. You have Drew Holiday going into year 2. That continuity, I thought, really showed throughout this playoff run where they were a dominant team. Some people are trying to take credit away from Boston for winning the championship, saying, it's a Mickey Mouse title. They were literally the best team in the NBA from game 1 through game 82, and then all throughout the playoffs. What they did, got to tip your cap. Got to tip your cap. Best team in the East. Is it Philadelphia, type P? Is it Boston, type B? Is it New York, type NY? Let us know.